Well, it's Mercury retrograde yet again, but this Mercury retrograde in particular is extremely powerful because we have Jupiter changing signs into the sign of Aries, where this retrograde is taking place. And we also just had a solar eclipse happen in the sign of Aries. So this Mercury retrograde is going to be extremely potent, and we are likely going to be seeing a lot of changes in our lives between now, April 21st to May 14th. So we're going to be talking about that today. I'm going to be taking a look at all 12 signs. I'm going to put the chapters on the timeline here so you could just jump to your moon sign and your ascendant sign. If you're interested in this type of content, make sure you like and subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell so you can get all of my updates. I do celebrity videos, I do royal family videos, I do monthly predictions, and we also look at important planetary transits. So make sure you're subscribed. The goal is 10,000 subscribers. I'm at about over 2,000, so we're moving along there. So thank you for all of your support. If you're interested in a reading, I have just changed my website to 40% off all of readings for the remainder of April. So make sure you're checking that out. Also, disclaimer, entertainment purposes only. This is not meant to replace professional, medical, legal, or financial advice. So let's talk a little bit about the dates here and also what Mercury retrograde is about for those of you that are new to this. Mercury retrograde, what happens basically is it appears to be moving backwards in the sky, but it's an optical illusion from our vantage point. Mercury isn't really moving backwards. It appears to be moving backwards because of planetary motion. But Mercury is going to be retrograde for about 3 weeks from April 21st to May 14th, and it's going to be in the sign of Aries. Now, as a general rule of thumb, during Mercury retrogrades, it's usually not a good idea to get married, to buy a house, buy a car, start a business, or sign any types of contracts. It's known as a period of bad luck. And the bad luck, it really comes from misunderstanding the terms of what you're signing. So that's why you typically don't want to sign anything. People that have bought cars, for example, I've heard this from people during a Mercury retrograde. A lot of times they end up buying a lemon, or they get into a deal that they really didn't fully understand. Maybe the interest is higher, or something, the warranty doesn't cover something. So be careful about this time. Now, life moves on. We sometimes have to, you know, buy things or sign contracts during a Mercury retrograde. Sometimes we have to. And I don't want to make you feel bad if you have to, but if you have the ability to wait till May 14th, then I strongly advise it. Communications problems are something that people talk about a lot during Mercury retrogrades. So a lot of times at work, you might miss emails, miss messages. There might be problems with your computer station, and it's usually an IT department's worst nightmare, Mercury retrograde. So that's something to be aware of as well. Now, in Vedic astrology, I wanted to let you all know in Vedic astrology, when a planet is retrograde, it's not necessarily like a malfunctioning planet, like what we typically think of in Western astrology. We think of the planet isn't working right. In Vedic astrology, they see that as the planet is strengthened, it's stronger. There's this idea of that it's closer to the earth when it's retrograde. So a lot of times you'll see really really intense events happen during retrograde motions of planets. So that's something to keep in mind. So even though it's not necessarily a good time to sign anything, the planets do increase their strength. So let's go ahead and check out the 12 signs. For those of you that are Aries ascendant or Aries moon, this reading is going to be for you. Mercury is going to be going through your first house of Aries. It rules your third and sixth houses. It's somewhat of a malefic house for malefic planet for you. Health is going to become a concern during this time. So it's not necessarily that there's going to be anything bad that happens, but there might be this idea of like wanting to start a new exercise routine or changing your diet or going and talking to your healthcare provider. There's something along those lines with it. Also, what's the issue with Mercury for Aries is there can be a lot of overthinking, overanalyzing, and worrisome thoughts become an issue during this time. So you might become very stressed out during this time. So it's definitely recommended that you do some sort of meditation work, or work on some way to calm your mind, because your thinking is going to be really overstimulated during this time, especially in the sign of Aries. Also, you may hear some gossip during this period, since sixth house in the first house represents, you hearing some gossip. And you also might receive some news about your enemies, whether that's bad or good. There might be some sort of news coming your way about that. So good luck for you, Aries. If you are Taurus moon or Taurus ascendant, this reading is going to be for you. Mercury is going to be going through your 12th house of Aries. It rules the second and fifth house, so it's actually a beneficial planet for your ascendant sign. This is going to be a very spiritual time for you, because 12th house rules spirituality, spiritual centers, ashrams, meditation. So this is going to be a time of a very active imagination, but also just receiving a lot of spiritual insight. Your intuition is going to be very strong during this time, just because of this idea of Mercury, when it's retrograde in Vedic astrology, it's stronger. Okay, so there's going to be this idea of you're receiving a lot of inspiration. It's a good time to review your spiritual practices during this time. Okay, Taurus, I know that you like to live a life of luxury and you like to live the good life being ruled by Venus, but it is time to really focus on, why we're here on this planet. We're here in a human body as a spirit being having a spiritual experience. So I also want to bring up that because there's this focus on spirit and spirituality, sometimes it can lead to a loss of finances. So there could be some financial issues during this time. Make sure you talk to a financial advisor, of course. But because Mercury rules your second house of finance and it's going through the 12th house of losses, it can indicate some difficulty there. Also, you may just want to be alone during this time, because Mercury rules the second house of family, and it also rules the fifth house of, for example, if you have children. So there might be this idea of you just want to be alone and maybe meditate and get some privacy during this time. This is not bad at all, Taurus. This is a needed a time for you. You have to really reflect on things. So take care of yourself, Taurus. If you are Gemini ascendant or Gemini moon, this reading is going to be for you. Mercury is going to be going through your 11th house of Aries. Mercury is a good planet for you. It rules the first house and the fourth house, both Kendra houses. It's a really powerful planet. The 11th house has to do with networking, business, friendships. So it's going to be a really busy time for you. You're going to be like mingling with people, talking to friends, hanging out, going to social gatherings. If someone invites you to go party, I would say go do it, because there's a lot of new connections you can make during this time, Gemini. So this is really good. Also, there's going to be a lot of messages coming in on your phone, on your computer, from friends and associates, business partners. And this is also a good time to plan, to make goals. Okay, so if you're making a vision board or you're making goals, it's a good time to make those goals, not necessarily sign a contract or make a deal just yet till after May 14th, but it's a good time to have everything written up and your vision board ready to go. All right. So if you are Cancer ascendant or Cancer moon, this reading is going to be for you. Mercury is going to be going through your 10th house of Aries. It's your career house. And it's definitely going to be a time where you're rethinking your career. So Cancer, I think that you've been feeling that maybe you're not very happy with your career situation. So there could be this idea of maybe you've been taking on a lot of responsibility and you're not feeling like you're being compensated enough. There's some sort of feeling of loss around career. Also, this could be a circumstance of you may notice certain coworkers or teammates resigning during this time. I know a lot of people have been resigning their jobs during the Great Resignation because of feeling overworked and underpaid. So you may notice that people are leaving your workplace and you're feeling like you're being handed all these extra responsibilities. The workplace is definitely suffering some sort of losses. But what I'm telling you, Cancer, is because the solar eclipse is also happening in your 10th house, you are going to be having a glow up over the next 6 months. So, whatever's happening over the next 3 weeks during this Mercury retrograde, it's really meant for you to take stock and really think about what direction you want to take in your career. You're going to have the answers. So, in May, when Mercury goes direct, you're really going to figure out, okay, whether this job is working for you or not. And if it's not working for you, it's going to be a good time in the next 6 months to actually either get promoted or change careers, maybe change to a different company. Leo, if you are Leo ascendant or Leo moon, this reading is going to be for you. Mercury is going to be going through your ninth house of Aries. And Mercury for you, Leo, is a money planet because it rules the second house of saved assets and the 11th house of earned income and salaries. So it's a really big money planet. It's going through your ninth house of spirituality and dharma. So this is quite an interesting time. There's a lot of spiritual gains you're going to make during this time. And I know you're probably thinking, woohoo, but the spiritual wealth can lead to a lot of positive changes in your life. Okay. So there's a lot of good karma that's coming your way. There's a Dana yoga that's being formed. Since the money planet is in a trine house, which is the ninth house, there could be some financial blessings coming your way because of good karma specifically. So it's not necessarily anything you're doing as far as worldly ambitions. These are financial blessings that are being brought to you by the divine for good karma. You also may feel compelled to share your knowledge with others and be a teacher during this time because second house is your voice and the ninth house is all about being a teacher. So if you feel like sharing your wisdom, starting a channel on, one of these social media platforms, it's a good time to do it. Also, if you're interested in taking a class nearly about anything, ninth house represents higher education. It's a good time to take a class. Also, Leo. So there's a lot of financial boons coming your way, but also these boons of wealth and people are educational boons. People tend to underappreciate the value of knowledge. Yogananda, if you're familiar with Yogananda said that one of the benefits of spiritual knowledge is being at the right place at the right time. So you can make money very easily with that kind of knowledge. Good for you, Leo. If you are Virgo ascendant or Virgo moon, this reading is going to be for you. Mercury is going to be going through your eighth house of Aries, and it rules the first and 10th house. This is all about transformation for you. Eighth house is a very potent house, and we just had a solar eclipse in Aries. So this is going to be an intense transformational time. This is going to be a time to rethink your career. Virgo, I bet your career's been going somewhat stagnant. Okay. Like you haven't been getting the growth you want. And this is going to provide the impetus for that. This is the catalyst moment for you. Okay. So Mercury wants you to take your career to the next level. Now, if the place you're working, if they're not offering promotions, maybe it's time to rethink if you want to keep working for them or not. Okay, so you're going to have to really reevaluate that during the Mercury retrograde, and you're going to be able to really like sign a new contract after May 14th. So, think about the next move you're going to make. Think about the chessboard and what you want to do. Also, you may have some sort of negative news or negative events happening in your workplace as well, just because the 10th house is the 10th lord is going through the 8th house. You might have some strange events happening in the workplace, and maybe that will be what makes you rethink working there. So good for you, Virgo. Good luck. If you are Libra ascendant or Libra moon, this reading is going to be for you. Libra, this Mercury retrograde is going to be happening in your 7th house of Aries. Mercury is a very spiritual planet for you. It rules the 9th house of Dharma, the 12th house of spirituality. And the 7th house has to do with marriage partnerships, long-term romantic partnerships, and even business partnerships. And it can also represent career. So your romantic partner might actually become more aloof during this time. They might actually go like on a spiritual retreat. Maybe they're kind of rethinking things, not necessarily about your relationship. Maybe they're just becoming more spiritual, but there might be this idea of you're seeing them less during this time. Also, there may be this idea of really thinking about reorganizing your relationship. So whether you're married or you're in a business partnership, there's this idea of improving things. So for example, if you've been having issues in your romantic partnership, maybe it's a good time to sit down and just have a talk about things and see what your goals are and your shared goals and shared interest, and really rekindle things during this time. Definitely the ninth house is a house of grace. So there is a rekindling that could definitely take place. Now, if you're thinking about leaving a job, just because the seventh house can represent your career, don't sign anything if you can till after May 14th, because that's when you're going to be able to have the most clear idea about what you want to do. So good luck, Libra. If you are Scorpio ascendant or Scorpio moon, this reading is going to be for you. Mercury is going to be going through your sixth house of Aries, and sixth house is one of those evil houses. So there's a focus on health. You may be reevaluating exercise plans, diet plans, those kinds of things during this time. And it's really highly encouraged to do that, because that's what Mercury is giving you, this opportunity to transform that area of your life, because it's the eighth lord. There also may be some financial gains that do happen during this time, but it's going to be due to hard work. So it's not necessarily like easy money. It's going to be difficult money because you're putting in all these hours, but you're being compensated for it. So you might actually see some financial boon during this time. Now, there might be problems with neighbors and coworkers. The sixth house represents the neighbors that live around you. And it also represents people that you work with in an office, or, coworkers, even if you work on a assembly line. So you might want to be careful about gossip, or, try to lay low during this time, because, the eighth lord going through the sixth house can indicate some difficulty, some issues there. Okay. And this is also a good time, Scorpio. I do want to really, really drill this on you. It's a good time to really analyze what area of your life you're suffering some sort of imbalance. Okay. So right now it's going to be all about bringing balance to your life. Now, this imbalance that we're thinking about, which I'm discussing right now, this could either be social, financial, career, health routines. Think about all these areas of your life during the Mercury retrograde, and think about what area you would like to improve. Okay. And then you can be ready to implement that plan after May 14th. Okay. But this is going to give you, Mercury is a planet of intellect. So there's this idea of you're going to become very keenly aware of where the imbalance is. And then you can really work on healing that imbalance. Good luck, Scorpio. If you are Sagittarius ascendant or Sagittarius moon, this reading is going to be for you. Mercury is going to be retrograde in your fifth house of Aries. The fifth house represents things like creativity. It represents children. So if you have children during this time, they might actually come to the forefront. They might be extremely vocal during this time. Also, it's an extremely creative period for you. So if you're somebody that you have like an artistic sense, like if you like to write, or you like to paint, or you like to create music, this is a great time for you. For example, if you're an author, this is a really good time to write a book, but not necessarily to make a deal where you're signing something to publish the book or make the actual business, bring it to the public. This is more of the time where you're actually like just letting your creativity flow and actually like writing the book or creating the painting or creating those things, but not necessarily signing any deal till after May 14th. But this is going to be a tremendously creative time. You may receive some sort of recognition at work because Mercury does rule your career houses. It rules the seventh house and the 10th house. And the fifth house represents being in the spotlight. So there might be some sort of recognition where, people really appreciate the work you've been putting in. Your spouse may also receive some sort of recognition, since Mercury is the seventh lord in your chart. If you have a long-term romantic partner or a spouse or a business partner, they may receive some sort of recognition. So good luck to you, Sagittarius. If you are Capricorn ascendant or Capricorn moon, this reading is going to be for you. Mercury is going to be retrograde in your fourth house of Aries. Fourth house is all about home, mother, homeland. So, there could be a focus on your mother. There might be some, there could be some communications happening or miscommunications there. Not necessarily bad, but there might be some missed messages or something. It does rule your sixth and ninth house. So it's a little bit of a mixed planet for you. Okay. So there also might be this idea of you rethinking your housing situation, whether you rent or whether you own property, there's this rethinking that's happening. If you're going to move, I would recommend not to sign a lease or do it till after May 14th, just because of this whole Mercury retrograde thing where it's not good to sign things. Also, there's going to be a focus on what makes you happy. Capricorn, you're like such a hard worker. You need to actually think about just beyond work for work's sake. Okay. I know you like to be busy. I know you like to work, but you know what? You need to enjoy the fruits of your labor. That's the whole point of work. Life isn't just meant to work just for work's sake. So I want you to focus on during this Mercury retrograde what makes you happy. Really focus on that. It's a good time to pick up a meditation course since fourth house represents beginning of meditation. So really early stages of meditation and really finding out what makes you happy and working on your inner world at this moment. This also would be a really good time if you're thinking about redecorating your house or you're thinking about some sort of project around your house, a good time to plan it as well, Capricorn. So good for you. If you are Aquarius ascendant or Aquarius moon, this reading is going to be for you. Mercury is going to be retrograde in your third house of Aries. Third house is all about siblings, business, entrepreneurship, hobbies, and social media. So your social media is going to be in overdrive over this next 3 weeks. Busyness is really what the third houses represent. So I see your phone just like getting so many chirps with different messages going on at Aquarius. You're going to be very busy. This is going to be a good time to plan a business, but not necessarily to officially sign a contract because of the Mercury retrograde. You're going to want to wait till after May 14th to do that. Also, I do want you to know that the third house has to do with our day-to-day mental script that we have. So third house is our beliefs. It's just like what repeats in our head day after day after day. It's our beliefs on a very deep subconscious level. So during this time, because Mercury rules your eighth house, which is the house of transformation, this is going to be a good time to change your mental script because you have the ability and authority to do that. So you can change the way you think, your mental script, through things like hypnosis, affirmations, ho'oponopono. That's going to be a good way to change some of your old mental programs and things. So if you're thinking about like getting yourself to a higher level of performance, maybe you're getting interested in achieving some sort of goals with your business. This is going to be a good time to write out those goals and actually do some affirmations and do some of that preparatory work to really bring you a high level of success. So good for you, Aquarius. All right, Pisces. If you are a Pisces ascendant or Pisces moon, this reading is going to be for you. You are the last sign of the zodiac, but you are so mystical and so artistic. You're an amazing being, Pisces. Mercury retrograde is going to be happening in your second house of Aries. This is going to be all about reorganizing the finances, because it does represent saved assets. So for example, if you need to balance the budget and come up with a plan, this would be a good time to do it. Especially, we are in a cost of living crisis around the world. So maybe there is this idea of looking at your budget and really going through with a spreadsheet. Also, the second house rules our memory banks. Okay, so you think about all these memories you have on all these beliefs that you have from not only this current life, but this is astrology from past lives. Okay, this is going to be a time of really updating some of that information in your data bank. Maybe there's certain limiting beliefs that you have, Pisces, that are really holding you back. And you really need to work on letting go of those limiting beliefs, because the second house is really what we believe strongly. It's our house of values. It's the house of storage. That's why it represents memory banks, but also treasuries of wealth. So anything where you're holding something, either valuable assets or assets of knowledge. That's what the second house represents. This is going to be a good time to take a course or do some inner work to change your limiting beliefs. Also, because Mercury rules your seventh house, there may be some sort of financial blessing coming to a spouse, business partner, or long-term romantic partner, just because the second house is all about money. So that's a really good thing. This also might be a time to reconnect with your family, Pisces. So when we're talking about second house, it's usually your family of origin. So if you haven't talked to them for a while, it's a good time to reconnect during the Mercury retrograde. So good luck, Pisces. Take care of yourself. Well, I do feel like this Mercury retrograde is going to be probably the most intense Mercury retrograde of 2023, just because of the solar eclipse. So we're likely to see some really important changes happening on a collective level, but on a personal level as well. Really, what's important to look at is really look at the house that Mercury is in. What does it represent? Study that house, because that's going to come into focus not only during the Mercury retrograde, but for the next 6 months because of the solar eclipse. Really focus on what that house means. Every house has a meaning. So, for example, first house represents your body, your identity. The second house would represent your family of origin, your saved wealth. So, really study that to get an idea of what this Mercury retrograde is going to be about and the next 6 months because of the solar eclipse. Thank you all for watching. Let me know what you think down below in the comments, and take care, and I'll see you in the next video.